Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there.
So, guys, doesn't that look good?
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Would you be afraid there? Because I know you're afraid of the water.
I would, but I love it. It's pretty.
Yeah, I have been blessed earlier in life to have spent some time down on beaches like that, and man, all the troubles of the world just disappear.
Yeah, they just melt away.
They melt totally away. Now the only beaches we roam are the desert beaches.
Bummer.
Yeah, well, different times. This is Costa Rica, and Costa Rica has always been one of my favorite countries for many reasons. For one reason is the biodiversity. There is more different types of life here jam-packed into this area that's really not that big when you get down to it. If you're comparing it to the size of the United States and all, it would be a relatively small state. It wouldn't be anything like Alaska as far as its expanse. And there's about 5 million people in Costa Rica. But as far as like richness, biodiversity, amazing scenery, it's so exceptional.
Oh my gosh, look at that. It's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, you have thick jungle, and then you have a Pacific coast, which is rugged and gorgeous, and then you have a Caribbean coast, which is just so beautiful. And you have people that are very, very friendly, and for the most part, very, very happy. And many people that have expatriated to this location as well over the years.
And what's really sad is whenever there's a really good thing, somehow it tends to get taken over and somebody does something not nice with it.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is sad the way the system of the world goes as you see people, having river adventures, exploring this amazing, amazing land.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. And the creatures there too, incredible. As we were talking about the biodiversity, so many different forms of life that, some of which you will not find anywhere else but here.
That's such a cute monkey. I love it.
And there's intelligence and there's warmth in those eyes too.
Definitely.
Incredible waterfalls, absolutely gorgeous. Over the years, it's gotten known for its yoga retreats as well as spiritual centers. But there's so many things to do in Costa Rica. It's just incredible, as you see here, meditation retreats in Costa Rica. Meditation and yoga is huge in Costa Rica. In fact, Deva, Premal, and Mitten, her husband, have actually moved there. And, that is where they now are always having their meditations. And you can see here, weekly healing meditation live from Costa Rica. These two are a beautiful, beautiful couple that are doing nothing but trying to spread love and light around the world through music.
Oh, they really are. And they're very good at it, too. She has such a beautiful voice.
Yeah, she's one of my absolute favorites as far as that goes. So if you guys are so inclined, please go ahead and subscribe to them and, check them out because they could definitely uplift you and take you out of a bad mood and put you in a wonderful mood.
In a heartbeat.
So this is so sad. And Costa Rica's explosive debt crisis, all you need to know. Costa Rica desperately needs to enact fiscal reform, experts say. But government efforts may reignite mass anti-austerity protests. And this is from Al Jazeera. And I always try to look at everybody's angle from all over the world because if you only look from one slant, then you're getting just a certain spin on things.
Well, yeah, you're getting that one perspective.
So Costa Rica's latest effort to address a nearly $40 billion debt crisis threatened to rekindle anti-austerity protests across the Central American nation, experts say, as the government begins talks on Monday with the IMF. And, a lot of these three-letter, why do I cringe every time I see all these and listen to these three-letter groups, organizations? Because to me, when you're saying these three letters, you might as well be spelling out Satan.
Yeah.
In the big form of things. The government has been preparing an agreement, a deal with the devil, with the IMF last year, but the terms for that deal were quickly rescinded after thousands of people demonstrated for weeks, marching and blocking roads to protest proposed tax reforms and spending cuts. Costa Rica, which abolished its military in 1948 and focused instead on social spending and strengthening democratic institutions, is considered an oasis of political stability and development in Central America. So this is one of the reasons why, I've always felt so drawn to Costa Rica, because I feel they're a model for what we can become. Think about that. 72 years ago, 73, they abolished their military. They haven't been invaded. Nobody's attacked them. Nobody's tried to take them over. Well, maybe fiscally, but nobody militarily has tried to take them over.
Right. So what they're pulling here is just really nasty.
Well, it's par for the course, and greed controls, and there is most definitely a group on this planet that wants to control every bit of the resources, every little bit of the land, the entire planet, including this tiny little country, which is and has been an oasis of political stability and development. And, relatively speaking, a very, very safe country, as I do know people that have moved there from the States and from other places as well, and lived there for decades and have found bliss and peace and happiness and wouldn't go anywhere else. Very, very proud of that country for what it's done and what it represents, which to me, this country's always kind of represented what can happen on a global scale, like the dominoes reversing and going the other way. Can you imagine if we had other countries start to abolish their militaries and nobody's rolling in there, nobody's taking it over? Now, unfortunately, Cindy has had visions of military vehicles heading into there. And so to me, this is one of the 4 countries, or maybe 5, of which I would like to finish my life out in this incarnation. Costa Rica, Panama. And again, it depends on what we see happen, because things happen and change very, very quickly. But those 2, along with Ecuador, Peru, and perhaps even Bolivia. Now, Peru is going to have big earth changes, we know, but at the same time, there are entrances into the inner earth there, and it is a base for ET activity.
Right. There is so much going on there, so much diversity, so many different things and aspects about it to take into consideration, just a whole lot of goodness, too.
And again, there's the thought, like I saw comments, too, about people asking, well, do you believe there will be a split? A 3D, 5D split, and the Earth will actually split into 2 different Earths, so to speak. One that's existing on a 3D platform and one on a 5D platform. And your take on that?
Yeah, I do believe that there's going to be a split like that. It's going to be the light part of it. The light is going to be more tangible than we can really understand. And then the 3D isn't going to be so bad either. It's actually going to be quite a beautiful thing.
So there will be at some point, but we have to shed the darkness that has enveloped this world that we're in, and this is how the darkness spreads. It spreads again through the fiscal system, and it controls everything, as we know. And this is nothing new. I've known for over 30 years, probably 40 years actually now, that this is how it's controlled through this monetary system. And you could trace all these. Well, you could trace the IMF back to the World Bank, which goes back to the chaos after WW2, and of course, there's many reasons why, say, WW2 happened, and one of them is exactly this. Mm-hmm. It's exactly this. It's in order to put into effect these new institutions which control things on a global scale. The need for rebuilding, like the same thing happened in the Civil War. After the Civil War, there's a need to rebuild. Well, where do we get the money to rebuild? Well, we got to go to the banks. Mm-hmm. And thus, these banks and bankers get stronger and stronger and stronger and control more and more and more, the last thing they want is people living somewhere where they could live easily and comfortably off grid and out of the system, because that equals freedom. Getting out of the system really does equal true freedom, and they can't have us being free.
No, they can't. And, it would behoove us to take advantage of this new opportunity we have coming up. And even though we may still be somewhat in the system, but use the system to step out of the system. And I think that's something Mike and I are going to focus on. And then we can do it for us. And then we can tell you guys how we did it.
And of course, we know that there's always going to be those emissaries of the empire, whether we are talking, the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, the British Empire, United States Empire, which again, they're all just the extension of the same forces, or the new empire, which is, over in the land of the dragon itself, and, is taking form now. It's all the same. It just morphs and changes forms, but it's all the same. It's been the same going back throughout the recorded history of this particular epic era, time frame, this particular, re-manifestation. And we really don't know how many times we've gone through this.
Oh, we've gone through this so many times, but the difference is now is we're moving into a thicker patch of light, and this is our chance to step up and out of the darkness.
Exactly. And so, this beautiful little country, it really does make me very sad to see what's happening to it as they try to, reel it back in and take it away from being perhaps a poster child of what can be done with no military, and really looking out for the best interest of the citizens into, pulling it back into the fold, so to speak. And you did see military convoys going through it.
It made me sad when we were talking with one of our clients. I got that vision flashed in my head. I saw a military jeep, and then I mentioned it, and then you started doing some research, and you found that they're going to be doing this, so it's a very real possibility.
Yeah, it's sad. So let's, send out our intentions that Costa Rica remains as free as you can be in this global situation that we have ongoing, and that the people and its leadership will not give in to the bankers and the IMF. And, may they still be a bastion, for what can be possible. Again, no military, and putting people first.
I think that would be a really, really beautiful thing to do.
And of course, no country is perfect. Every single country has issues, as we know. Every person has issues. We're all working through our stuff. But again, it's holding out hope that there could be a better structure here upon the planet, one in which, human rights and the rights of every little living thing on the planet are respected, not just used and abused and discarded.
That would be such a beautiful world to be in.
Thank you guys for your support. Make sure you are subscribed, have the bell clicked, and thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. As always, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.